Welcome back to the Lost and Stupidity Podcast. I'm your host, Tony the Burner. I'm joined by the one Will Hillbilly Hire.
Glad y'all came on back.
And sitting across from me is Bailey Joe Hickman. I am not sure when this podcast will come out, but as you can see, we just wrapped up our Christmas extravaganza, and now we've had to turn the heat on because we're in the middle of a massive cold front, maybe ice storm. It has gotten very chilly in the studio.
Oh yeah, we're freezing in here, guys. Especially being from South Mississippi, we don't like cold weather.
Yeah, right.
We live down here for a reason.
But anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'm not sure when this will be out, but it probably before New Year.
January. If you haven't left your Christmas lights up in January, are you really from the South?
Amen. So today we're gonna dive into a little gun drama. This is the kind of man episode. I apologize to our lady listeners or anybody that doesn't really care about firearms. We're obviously very passionate.
Like we have lady listeners.
we have
no
three.
Girls allowed.
We have three.
Yeah, we're all married to them.
Yeah, we have three.
Fair enough.
Remind me to tell you a story about that later. Anyway, so we're going to dive into some firearm stuff because in the year of our Lord 2025, we've had some. We're going to do what we call Glock talk.
No,
I feel like I should play some Keith Sweat or something. Yeah, we're going to do a little thing we like to call Glock talk. But anyway, do y'all want to take over on this one? I'm just going to offer commentary, but y'all have been following this really, really close. Y'all dive in.
Well, where do you want to start, Thrill Billy?
I guess we'll kind of give a rundown on Glock and their change in direction on producing their firearms and why, just all of that. Okay, so anyways, I'll kick it off. So Glock seemingly out of nowhere just had announced back in October that at the end of this month, all production of Glock Gen 3, 4, and 5s will be ceased. We will not be producing them anymore. We will not be shipping them anymore. It will end. We will be producing and shipping the Glock Vs.
And this is a response to California legislation.
Yes, this is a response to California legislation.
Which says what?
So the California legislation is geared towards, because up to this point, you could buy a Glock in California. They had magazine restrictions. That was the main thing. And I think a trigger disconnect for the Glock models or for the California models. Anyways, they came up and said this new legislation that got passed and got signed into law said that any weapon, Glock style weapon that could be easily convertible with what's called a switch to fire full auto would be illegal to buy in the state. So they were trying to, again, it's what every legislation tries to do, is we're trying to fix a problem, but we don't really know how that problem works. There are people that have been putting on switches, which is this little device that interrupts the trigger disconnect and allows you to basically turn your Glock into a submachine gun.
Yeah.
And it's illegal to have one. It's a felony to have one. But so you're breaking the law by having this. So there's already a law you're breaking if you get caught with this. But California's solution was like, okay, cool. Glock can't sell their product here at all. So then Glock says, oh my goodness, stopped production. Here's the Glock V.
And there was, if I recall correctly, there's also multiple other states that are they were compiling a lawsuit against Glock on these same grounds as well.
Because these switches are a big problem, not because of Glock, but because of
criminals.
Well, criminals, but this is like
Temu, Wish. Is Wish still a thing?
I don't know. Has Temu replaced Wish?
I wish it wasn't.
But anyways, these overseas producers are 3D printing these things, and you can buy them for $5, $10, $15, and people were getting them. And you can look at police footage of, man, there's a scary pullover where they stop a car and all of a sudden the back windshield explodes.
I see.
And 30 rounds are dumped into that squad car. Thank God they all survived. But it is. It's scary, but also continue.
So based on that right there, logic, like, okay, these switches are illegal. It's illegal to have one. Only criminals are having these. We're going to make another law. We're going to ban Glock. So people will view this as if Glock is bending the knee
to California.
It's just like, okay, we're not going to produce these previous models of Glock anymore. I will clarify, the slim line Glocks are not included in this. So 43s, 43Xs, 48s, and 42s are not in this cancellation.
You got to have a touch of the tism to know all the Glock numbers.
Yes.
Schism with the tism, baby.
Hence why I was able to name them all. But anyways, people will view this as bending the knee. I will point out that Sandy Hook's lawsuit against Remington set terrible precedent. And if you're familiar with case law, you know precedent has a lot of standing.
Yeah. So Glock is playing CYA. So
yes, understandably
so. It's like, I don't want to just throw Glock completely. I know a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, how could Glock do this?
They would. This is disgusting. Like,
but then enter 2 months.
It's
later,
a business.
Well,
okay,
it's a business.
So they start shipping out the V models, and of course people were able to get them. And turns out that V stands for very switchable.
Because within
they put a switch on the dang thing.
Hours. Oh, and not only this.
That's terrible.
There's a YouTube guy, I think out of Iowa or somewhere up there in the Midwest, called PewView. And he was talking about one. He's like, not only can you put a switch on, and he has the SOT, like he can legally do all this. He's like,
sure.
Not only can you put a switch on them, the changes they made, Kentucky Ballistics does a good job of talking about the little subtle changes that they talked about and forgotten weapons. About trying to interrupt and not be able to put a switch on it. He said, PewView said, the changes they made, not only can you, now put a switch in it, you can't turn the switch off. It's only full auto.
Oh my God.
All or nothing. So they start pushing out the V's and everything. And it was rumored back earlier in this year that there was going to be a Gen 6 to come out. And people were kind of confused. It was also interesting the way they announced the cancellation of previous generations and the production of the Gen V. They didn't make a public statement. This was revealed by their vendors.
Yeah. Glock Store.
Yeah. And to specify, Glock Store does not have any affiliation with Glock itself, but they are a distributor. So Glock never made the announcement. They
That's interesting.
I don't think they wanted to. I think they were doing this as a CYA.
So what doesn't make any so it's terrible PR.
Yeah.
It's suicidal PR.
They stumbled.
I understand the logic, but we're being honest, your average consumer is not going to. But I find their approach so strange because a month later, they come out with the Gen 6, which
everybody's excited about.
I'm excited about. Looking at it, everything I've seen, this is going to be the best generation of Glock that they've done so far.
Essentially, what they've done with the Gen 6, from the little bit that I've looked into, I haven't looked at a ton. Essentially, they've done everything you were going to do to modify your Glock, you're getting it out of the box.
Yeah.
You have a thicker trigger.
You have a flat trigger. You have a thicker palm well in your hand. You have stippling everywhere you want stippling.
Yeah.
You have more aggressive
wings.
front serrations.
Yeah.
You have a larger beaver tail off the back.
Yeah. You even have a shelf wing for your stand.
Yeah. Little gas pedal almost for your thumb to rest on.
You've got suppressor height sights out the gate.
You have what is probably going to be a better optic mounting solution.
Yes. So they've done all these wonderful improvements, but the stumble was why. So if I had to theorize, what they were trying to do was say, okay, the Glock V for all of the models is what we're going to ship to California. So we'll be, V will be all the California kinds. And then we'll have, for the rest of the country that's still free, we'll have the Gen 6. But they should have announced that at the same time.
That's the thing. Why didn't they?
Why didn't they?
Don't know.
I don't know. Unless they're just doing this to showcase, like whenever these communist factions within our country continue to try to pass legislation against Glock and start suing them. If they just did this to showcase and just be able to say, like, look what we did.
Yeah,
like we presented a solution.
Yeah.
SCYA.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure.
it's a very interesting thing, but there was a huge blow up. Everybody hates Glock, and then it's all kind of calmed down, and now everybody's with the Gen 6. Everybody's like, oh,
Like maybe they did it just to maybe another possible reason is like, I think people are going to talk about us more. People are going to run and buy Gen 5s.
See, that was my theory.
Yeah. You told me that one. I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
And
It's the any news is good news theory.
It's funny because I did buy another Gen 5 Glock because of this.
We got him.
We're not gonna disclose this on air because actually this is just a little joke because none of us own any firearms whatsoever.
No, they were all lost in voting.
We were all lost in a boat accident, but we sat down and talked about it, and Will actually owns more Glocks than I own firearms.
My boat was lost in a gunning accident.
No. His guns and boat were lost in a Glock accident.
No. My boat sank because of a SIG accident.
A SIG-cident. Oh no.
But,
y'all gonna dive into that?
Let's
too?
Go ahead.
I just
want to kind of summarize.
Yeah, we'll wrap up the Glock talk.
People hate on Glock. It's probably people that genuinely don't go out and shoot. If we're being honest,
You're not gonna lie.
Like ergonomics and the trigger is terrible. It's like, just go shoot. It's a tool. Like I love refined guns and refined tools, and they have their place. Like, and I'm not a Glock fanboy. I like them because they work. They work. Yeah. They come in at a reasonable price point. The aftermarket support is phenomenal. I can get any style of holster I want. Replacement parts are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
That PS8 dagger game though.
but that just goes to show how good Glock is. It's because PS8 daggers are Gen 3.
Gen 3.
You can literally take a Gen 3 slide and barrel and put it on a dagger.
It's the greatest form of flattery. Imitation.
Yeah. The Ruger RXM is literally...
The Ruger RXM is interesting because,
I wouldn't be opposed
chassis style
to get one of those.
And it was rumored that the Gen 6 was going to be that way, be a chassis style, and you can interchange the frames and everything. It's not. It was rumored it was going
It's
to
not.
I'm kind of glad it isn't because
I don't
because it doesn't really appease to me. I don't cry because it doesn't fit my hand perfectly or like
shoot it.
I just shoot.
That's another thing, and I come from this for a little more of a hunting side, but don't get me wrong, I love a good trigger. It's pleasant to shoot. But you lose me a little bit. Like people get so caught up on, well, it doesn't feel right, or the trigger doesn't feel right, or this, that. Look, it's okay if that's your thing. It's okay to nitpick. We all got hobbies. I'm of the mindset of you can darn near out-train any weakness in what you're 100%.
Using.
Absolutely.
You haven't fired enough brass.
You hadn't fired enough brass. Like, I mean, not to take this back to archery, but it's just, it's kind of my area. You need this kind of bow. You need these kind of arrows. You need to do this. And those things can be and are important.
And I would argue,
however,
there is a base level.
Absolutely. Yes, that's a better way to say it.
You have to have a base. You can't just have anything.
You can't just have anything. You have to have a base of quality. But once you reach that base, again, get a lot of deer with a 30-year-old bow.
Yeah.
With a horrible, backstop.
With a $600 bow instead of a, $2,000 bow.
Yeah, I mean, well, even the one I'm shooting now, which again, it's a lot. It's the Bowtech Air Raid I shoot. It's similar to me, it looks like the old Matthews Helium, which again is a 10, 15-year-old design.
Sure.
I don't know, the trigger thing and the ergonomics. Look, buy what you want, rig it out how you want, but also if the darn thing works and it's accurate and it's reliable, that's my biggest thing on a firearm. Is it's reliable? Then I will put up with a subpar trigger.
Oh, absolutely.
Just train around it.
But I'll also point out, I know we're all like everybody these days are trigger snobs. I had a guy, again, it's a little bit more old school thinking, but to me, it made sense. And I learned this before I entered law enforcement. And then when I was in law enforcement, I was like, oh, I get what he's talking about. This guy, we worked together, ironically enough, selling firearms at a big box store. And he was retired, but he had been he'd been a lot of things. He was a really cool guy. He had been in the Air Force. He had been 7 years a sheriff deputy, and then he was a principal for like 25 years before he finally retired. Just a cool guy. Anyways, he said when he was in law enforcement, he said, as a sheriff deputy, he said, I got to the point, he said, they kind of let us pick what handgun we wanted because it was a small sheriff's department. He said, and for a while I carried a 1911. He said, and I had a 2.5 pound match trigger in there. And he said, one day we had a kid who was breaking into cars. We knew it was a problem, and we finally got out there. On him. He said, and there were rumors that he had a gun, didn't know, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, he said, I came up and drew up on him to get him to stop. He said, we had a foot chase. And I drew up on him. He said, and then I had a realization that I had 2.5 pounds between this kid's life continuing and not. And he said, and I'm out of breath going, and he said, I went back and got my stock issue Glock and carried that. He said, because that little bit of extra, he said, was good to have for when I needed to make that decision. He said, because when you make that decision, he said, I don't care how heavy you're going to pull the trigger.
That's the thing. Again, in the heat of the moment.
That's an interesting point.
That's where they lose me. And again, I'm going to keep going into hunting land, but especially like something done quickly, which would be potentially personal defense, or like for me, like shotguns. You're not going to notice the trigger.
When you shotgun, yeah.
Well, no,
or
I would argue defense. If you're in that situation, now training, yes. If you're in that moment, oh crap, you're not going to care what trigger's on it. You're not going to notice. Yeah. It's going to come down to how many times have you practiced and rehearsed this moment, and still in that moment, people freak out in high. Tell the hug story. People do weird things under high stress situations.
Oh yeah.
Not
about that.
You don't know what you go. Again, I wish say what you were drifting out of guns a little bit.
I'll tell the story real quick and we'll get back to the gun topic. But when I was a cop, I had me and my partner went in and had this just pretty bad domestic situation where this guy was threatening to hurt a family member pretty badly, and he was mentally unstable, all this kind of stuff. Well, he wasn't supposed to be at the house, and we were just supposed to be going to take a report. All of a sudden, the front door opens, and he comes in there, sees the family member that's making the report, and goes, "You called the cops," and runs through the house, just full sprint towards that family member. And she came around me and got behind me, and my partner was in front, and he body checks my partner to the side, which is a big, like, oh, okay, it's hit the fan. And so he was, yelling stuff like, I'm going to kill you and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, I have every right at this point to, at minimum, use a taser. When you're in law enforcement, you have levels of force escalations you can use. At minimum, I could have tased this guy, and, the situation been done. For whatever reason, I don't know why. And all this happens like boom, 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 boom. We're talking from him coming in the front door, pushing my partner down, and being right here in front of me is a second and a half, 2 seconds. For whatever reason, I don't know why, I just bear hugged him. He was smaller than me, and I just went, whoop. And I kid you not, I squeezed the life out of it. And I had it both of his arms. He couldn't do anything. Yeah. And I squeezed the life out of that guy going, calm down! Calm down!
Stop resisting!
Stop! And I just squeezed him and held him there until my partner got up and she opened the back door.
Will.
As she pulled out her 9mm taser.
She was a great partner. She's a very good cop.
Send that email to Howard@lostandstupidity.com.
And I just squeezed this dude until I got him outside and he finally calmed down. And that's one thing I don't think realize is like these things happen so dynamically.
You don't know what you're going to do.
I was able to let him go and sit there and talk with him, put handcuffs on him, and take him to jail. And we went from he was going to kill this other family member to I bear hugged the life out of him, got him outside, and got handcuffs on him. And now, he still caught a charge. He caught a charge for pushing my partner over.
It's still, it's kind of like
those situations are dynamic.
Yes, and it's like Steve Ranella talking about the bear attack. The bear runs through the camp, and all he can think to do, he hits it over the head with a tent pole. That's all he can think. They freeze and
and they all got guns.
You don't know. So we're getting off a little there. Look, there's a place for match triggers.
Yeah, refined.
And look, but this whole the reason I don't trust Glock is because the trigger's not good. Okay, but the dang thing works.
If it is good enough for Ben Stoker to run a stock Glock in competition and have no qualms about it, it's good enough for you. If you can't tell how from a Gen 4 to a Gen 5 barrel is more accurate than a Gen 4, you don't need to be buying different barrels. You just
and look, we all got hobbies. We all dive into this, but what this is, be careful here. What this is the person that's learned to play guitar, okay, and
they buy a better guitar.
Like, man, I gotta buy a bigger guitar, and I gotta buy this tube amp. It's a certain tube amp, and maybe some more pedals and stuff. No, you need to learn to play the guitar first.
It's like y'all seen the bell curves, like freezing temperature IQs, Glocks do fine, and then the curve kind of goes up a little bit, and it's like, oh no, you need to do all this to your Glock, and it keeps going. It's like, oh yeah, stock Glocks are just fine.
You come back around, you're like, oh no, it's fine.
Again, which that brings up another point of sidearms in general.
Oh, we've said that before on Indian.
What about
look what is it? Rifles poke holes through things. Pistols poke holes in things. Shotguns take a piece of the thing and throw it on the floor.
And people, I feel like the majority of people fail to understand how much it takes to genuinely be proficient with a handgun. It's a lot more than I've done.
Any firearm. Any firearm.
But pistols are more exasperated.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can take somebody with a shotgun or a rifle and have them train to a lot higher proficiency in a shorter amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, it's like Brent Tucker's talked about it before. It's like people got to the unit. It's like, we're doing pistol. We're doing pistol. We're doing pistol. We're doing pistol. And then you hang a rifle off of them, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But we're doing pistol.
Yeah. And I'll say this, and maybe we can get into some SIG talk. But as someone who is a avid, as my personal defense, and as my whatever, as someone who is a avid double action revolver shooter, miss me about y'all's trigger.
Y'all
wanna? All right. Hang on. Wait.
Quarter of a mile away.
Here we go. Oh, there we go.
2 hours later.
It's like pulling back your bow to draw it.
But I do love my wife's little Smith & Wesson Airweight snub nose 38 special. I love that thing to death. I wish I had one.
But to your point, we were talking about just one more thing on the pistols. We went out shooting an Indian video, and like you said, you were a big revolver guy. That's most of what you shot. We took maybe 30 minutes and just gave you some pointers on shooting the semi-auto.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was drastically,
from night and
day difference. It's just get all that to say, get training, get good training.
Yeah.
And then practice. But like I said, you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't need all these accessories. You don't need upgraded barrel and trigger. You need to spend that money on ammunition and practice.
Yeah.
And then at that point, if you want to do that,
If you
I'm not
want-
saying not to. Look, just like the guitar thing.
Rhythm with the tism. Put all that stuff on there.
I like Timony triggers. I think they're phenomenal triggers.
Yeah, that's coming from somebody. In my hunting rifle, it will get a Timney eventually.
A Timney trigger.
Yeah. Let me do my Joseph Von Benedict. We'll see you in the back. Nozzler partition. 168 grain bullet. Particularly.
I'm William, the backcountry apprentice.
Those guys are awesome.
Particularly in 168 grain nozzler partition. Anyway,
when using heavy for caliber.
Shout out to the Backcountry podcast. He actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to shooting a rifle.
Stupid people.
Lord. Oh man. So this has been
people who want to talk about SIG.
Here we go. And we've just offended everyone again.
Oh,
surprise. Now I got to close this out. This I need Keith Sweat or something to play. And this has been Glock Talk. Join us next time, baby.
Hi, I'm Lenny McGill with Glock Story.
So what do y'all want to talk about on the Sig Sauer drama? Because I've heard
we might as well start with the P320.
The P320, man.
Because I've heard everything from. Y'all dive into it because y'all know more than I do on that.
Honestly, what's
because I don't own one, I haven't shot one. I honestly can't say.
One hasn't shot you.
One hasn't shot me.
Always tomorrow. No, I mean, what's crazy is that SIG has gotten so hush hush, and honestly, so the big thing that happened this year was there was an airman killed, and it came out, and they were like, "This happened." Because of a SIG 320 incident. To give a little backstory, SIG 320, this pistol came out in 2017, 2018. Again, we've said we're bad with dates. Anyways, when this pistol came out, I was actually working at a big box store selling firearms. It was based, to give a little bit of nerd talk, it was based on the SIG 250, which was a polymer framed modular handgun. The 250 was actually had a external double action hammer. And it was cool. There was nothing wrong with it. And it actually wasn't a bad pistol. They took that and said, hey, let's take this pistol because it's cheap. Because that was the whole point of the 250 was that, hey, it's a competitor with Smith & Wesson's SD9s, all these sort of cheap, sort of entry-level polymer handguns. So the 250 was like retailed again, 2015, 2016, retailed for like $350, $400. It comparatively, it was cheaper than Glock. And then the military put out a contract and said, hey, we're going to replace the M9 as a sidearm. And SIG adapted, and they were in the process allegedly before that. I don't know that I buy that. I think they got a tip off. They took the 250, modified it to where it was striker fired instead of double action hammer fired, and like, hey, cool, here's our new SIG 320. And so enter in this pistol that was designed around a double action only system and an external hammer.
Woes and Joe Rogan.
You have adapted it to and if y'all want to listen to all this, you don't have to trust my word on it. This is Ian McCullum from Forgotten Weapons. This is his whole gun Jesus. This is his whole story. Is that you've taken a design based on a different firing system and retrofitted it with striker technology.
That made it modular.
And all that. Which the 250 was modular. That was the gimmick.
Oh, was it? Okay.
The gimmick with the 250 was that you could change the grips on it and it was modular and all this. You could change the trigger on it. But the military said we want striker fired, not hammer fired, and so that's why they retrofitted it. And ergo, you have the 320.
The trials that they went through was sketchy.
Again, watch Ian McCullum's video on that.
Yeah,
they did not meet the round counts.
They didn't meet the standard. The trial overall didn't finish at all.
The trial did not finish
between them versus Glock versus Beretta. I mean,
Yeah,
Beretta
put out a new M9, the M9A3. It's
a
just phenomenal.
superior M9.
Yes, very cool. Which you can go buy in the civilian market all day.
Yeah.
And have a better sidearm than the U.S. military.
Yeah.
So the 320 gets shoehorned in here. SIG wins the contract. Anyways, SIG winds up having, and again, when the military adopts something, everybody else goes, okay, there must be something to this.
Yeah.
So police departments start adopting it.
But because I'll forget, but I've talked to some people. I've talked to people recently, and you know what and it's back to the Glock thing. You know why people, even with its flaws, why there are people, you gotta be real careful here, that still prefer the SIG to the M9, and it's purely because of comfort, because they don't like the way the M9 feels.
What?
Yeah.
No, I've talked. Yeah, that's people who served.
It's so uncomfortable for 15 rounds to shoot. Like it's
because
I can't bear this.
Ergonomics, and said it's a brick
and modular.
And sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But you're right. And it was cheaper. Let's be honest. It was the government said it's cheaper than the M9.
Didn't they? I knew it was cheaper than the Glock, but not by much.
No, not by much.
Which back to the original
the M9
point
was a tad cheaper.
I think the M9A3 is more expensive. Not by much. I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Which by all accounts, why isn't the Glock just our
sidearm? Actual did a great video on that. You go back and watch it.
If Delta Force, they can pick and choose any handgun they want to use.
They can go to handgun manufacturers and have special handguns made for them.
Yeah.
See the USP or the Mark 23.
Yeah.
But you know what they run? A Glock 19. They can have anything that they want. They run a Glock 19.
It's like it's like when people give flack about Smith & Wesson. Jerry Miculek can shoot any gun on earth he wants. Jerry Miculek shoots a Smith & Wesson.
Yeah. Well, the Glocks, again, you see them across so many law enforcement departments. They just work. Well, anyway, so you have all these people start adopting 320, replacing Glocks with 320 in law enforcement. And then this massive ramp up in 320 production happens. And this is when the crap starts happening, to put it lightly.
I will note that supposedly, if I remember correct, with that investigation into airmen being killed, I think okay.
I'm gonna get to that. No, I'm coming around to that.
Very well. But like all these other incidents within law enforcement of it ADing in their holster, like that's all legitimate.
That's all that we've seen. So we have seen up to this point. So law enforcement starts widely adopting this. At the same time, SIG is ramping up production because they're providing for law enforcement, for the military, and also the civilian market. Because again, the civilian market follows law enforcement and military. The civilian market is like, oh yeah, this is cool. It's modular. You can put all this stuff on it. They were doing optic cuts. So they were like, great. This is when stuff starts happening. You have ADs, for those accidental discharges. Guys carrying this in their holster. Go search accidental discharge SIG 320. 1.5 billion videos will pop up. People trying to effect an arrest. People standing there talking in the police department and their SIG going off in their holster. SIG.
But those must be AI. That's not real.
Right. SIG denies.
Those didn't really. There's not enough evidence out there to conclude that there may actually be a problem.
SIG denies that there was ever a problem, all the way up until this year. SIG denies, said no, there's no problem. They offered at one point a voluntary triggered upgrade because at first the first thing that they were saying was
you mean like when Dodge sends you the little letter and it says, hey, you got a factory recall. If you don't let us fix it, it's on you. Because
no. That's what's even awful. It was not a factory recall. Nope. They cowered out of that. Didn't even do a factory recall. It was a voluntary trigger upgrade.
Yeah.
So not even, you could have at least done a factory recall.
Sure.
You didn't even do that. And that was for the drop. They were saying that if you could drop them in a certain way, if you drop them where the beaver tail, all that
was a thing. And it was early on, them not being drop safe.
And that's
but then later it became
They were just going off.
Yeah.
They were just going in holsters, or people taking videos of having their finger on the frame and them going off.
Which, being drop safe, that's something you want in a duty application for your handgun.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Versus like most 1911s and 2011s, they're not drop safe.
No.
Exactly. So I would consider them less than ideal for duty application.
You know what is it?
The Glock.
You mean the PSA dagger?
I mean, if you don't want Glock, there's a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0.
That's great.
It's phenomenal.
But so you get to this point. Well,
is the Beretta drop safe?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for correcting me.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you get to this point, and then this year, and all this is swirling around the gun community. Everybody's like, "Don't buy 320s" because of all these, and it really hit mainstream media when all of a sudden this year, security forces for the Air Force, which is like an MP, they guard the base, effect arrest, all that kind of stuff.
I was SF, like special forces, like no security forces, the real SF,
the real SF.
So these two guys, and one guy gets killed, and they allege that it was because he took his holster off, he took his duty belt off, SIG 320 in the holster because that's what the military is carrying.
Yeah.
Sets it down on a desk, goes off and shoots him in the chest.
Did that really happen?
There's the kicker. So everybody blows up and is upset at SIG.
Because of this.
And it finally, like, the problems that the gun community has been screaming about with SIG hit mainstream. And then it comes out. They lied. It was 3 airmen. One guy was playing with his gun and messing around with it and shot the other guy in the chest. He looks at his buddy and says, "We can't say this happened." They agree to lie about it and say that it was an accident. And again, this is all allegedly.
Allegedly.
But this is the reporting now, is that that's what actually happened, was that this guy fiddle farting around with a handgun that was loaded, that you never do, shoots his buddy in the chest on accident, lies about it, and then that guy tragically later commits suicide.
Yeah.
So now you have 2 airmen dead. The lie is perpetrated, and it's awful because you have 2 lives lost. But what's also, it's not as bad because life is so precious. That's the worst thing in this, is that 2 lives are lost. But the problem is now everybody's gone quiet on SIG because it wasn't that problem.
See, it's a perfect storm of now, even though there actually was a problem and is a problem, because this is, what is it? Fruit of the poison tree.
Fruit of the poison tree.
And now it's
that didn't actually happen.
And now all the SIG people feel like they're validated. Like, see, we told you there was nothing wrong.
We told you there was nothing wrong. And now all your mainstream media collapses because they're like, oh, well, the corporation's telling us there wasn't a problem. And then we find out the airmen lied. We're just going to move on past that. Meanwhile, all the gun guys, all of the people who put a lawsuit that have been, there have been police officers shot by their own SIG in the foot.
Yeah.
All those guys are hung out to dry and look like idiots. And they're like, well, that couldn't have happened. SIG must be right when they said you were using the wrong holster. So we've never addressed
terrible.
the actual problem.
How on earth is my holster going to make my gun spontaneously go off on itself?
And there's been a lot of people that have different theories.
Well, that's my next question. What is actually, do you know what is happening, or does anybody know to cause this?
The I think it's Ohio Gunworks guy. I can't remember exactly. Anyway,
is that the video you sent me?
Idaho gun something.
I'll look him up and give him proper credit.
Yeah.
He has a working theory that he pointed out with a SIG 320.
Slightly depressing the trigger and jostling up the slide.
A slight depression of the trigger and jostling the slide will make basically from what I understand, the sear, there's not enough contact between the sear and the firing pin.
But how is the trigger getting slightly pressed?
Well,
just dirty gun?
It's not even that it has to be slightly depressed. It's that the wall has to be taken up. So it can be that you had fired and you were letting up, because that's what happens, that people's trigger comes off going off. But then if you had lint build up, if you had racked the trigger and the trigger didn't go all the way back forward, So, but here's the problem is, and that's what I'm going to talk about him. I'm trying to give him proper credit, because he does have a point. I'm not saying he's wrong. He has an issue. It's not the issue. And that's the problem that we're getting out of SIG, is that
We don't know what the issue
SIG
is.
won't say anything. They won't admit it. They won't take credit, or they won't,
Wyoming Gun Project.
Wyoming,
That's
sorry.
it.
Wyoming Gun Project. There you go. Wyoming, and he has a great video. He has a great point. But and I completely agree. It could have been some of the 80s. E.M. McCollum has another great point, which is some of these internal parts, especially in the striker fired mechanism, are supposed to be machined and then went to be injection molded, which, get off in the weeds here, is a different process.
Yeah.
So if you're out of spec, you have certain thousands that are making contact, so that when you pull the trigger, it falls and it's only off by certain thousandths, and then the striker goes forward. Some of them, it's got to be a quality control issue. Everything that I've done research to up to now is that it has to be some of these, and they probably can't even pinpoint what batch did what, which is why some people have 320s and never have a problem with them, and they're relatively decent.
See, and there lies the problem. We can't, again, SIG being quiet is going to end up potentially getting someone killed, because, again, there's enough of the SIGs out there working properly that the SIG people are going, look, I carry this thing all the time. Again, I'm not going to name names. I know someone who has one who's like, just never given me any issues. I love this gun.
And that's great if it is. But you have an issue. And even if you know the issue, you're not telling anybody, but you're putting people's life at risk. But then this tragic incident, is basically your get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
To what Turner said, like, it's worse than SIG being just quiet. They had a whole social media campaign this year that said, like, it ends today.
Right before.
And they had, all it was they gaslight the daylight out of anybody that has ever claimed that there is a problem with the SIG P320.
Yep.
They pointed out every one of the claims, and then basically lied and told you, just like there's no way this could happen. But it is happening. Like, y'all were talking about it. You're saying, like, we're telling you there's a problem, and you're just sitting there going, nuh-uh.
Which again, this is another problem too. People don't understand, and I didn't for a long time. I don't personally. This is I'm speaking generally.
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff that comes out of the military that's great, but the old saying, well, it's mil spec. Okay, the running joke is you do know that piece of equipment was made by the lowest bidder. Okay, so oh well, this is used by the military. That may not be my benchmark for what I want to use.
Yeah. And also now you combine that with, again, I know we're getting off in the weeds. We're a little bit stupid gun nerds, but that you combine that with the problems that now,
this episode is gonna get 7 views, and Josh Butler will be 6 of them.
Hey Josh, shout out, bro. You combine that with the problems that they're having out of the M7, which SIG also got the contract for the next generation assault rifle and the next generation squad automatic weapon.
What? That's not suspicious.
They got dirt on somebody. They do, man.
They've got some.
They got somebody doing some funky barnyard
stuff. Careful. You're already on probation from the first episode we recorded today.
I don't know who they got dirt on or what the dirt is, but they got it. It's somebody imported, and daggum, is it dirty? Because they're getting all the contracts.
They got. How do you get? You get 3 out of the 3 contracts. You've gotten all 3,
and they are having issues with this M7 shooting 277 Fury. And it's so funny. They talk it up. This is for precision, extreme accuracy. Is like, and then they slap a short barrel on it. Huh? And we're like, this is armor defeating, but like you shorten the barrel, and if there's any sort of variant out to distance, it's not going to penetrate.
And we're also talking about like some guys are reporting that are testing this having like 6 MOA.
Oh no!
brutal.
which was supposed to be 2 to
Good
4 MOA.
gracious.
And they're reporting 6. So this is not meeting the military standard. So you're talking about, and also there's 2 great videos of.
Also, I'd like to point out that we're talking about the weapon that's going to be the fighting force of America. And we, as a gun community, want to hang Mossberg for their Patriot having a 3 MOA. And we're talking about a service weapon having 6.
This is ridiculous. Us as civilian consumers, we can go and buy an out-of-the-box rifle for $500 with sub-MOA accuracy.
Yeah.
And they're peddling this garbage with 6 MOA.
And I think the price tag on these are around like $5,000.
They are. It's ridiculous. How did we go from the M4, the Mark 18, the Mark 12, the HK416? How do we go from these phenomenal weapon systems to this garbage?
Yeah. But also, and there's 2 great videos that if any of this is interesting to you at all, Josh Butler, go look at Forgotten Weapons' newest video on this and Cappy Army's video on this. And
I see
specifically,
stuff.
They're great videos, but he specifically both of them talk about the big thing that is also going to have to happen. Like, look, new weapon systems that get put in place always have teething problems. The M16 have teething problems.
Oh, absolutely.
Even the M1 Garand had teething problems. Like the first couple models, look, you got to source stuff out. So having a A1 is not an issue per se. The problem is you've not only changed the weapon system, you've changed the doctrine. So allegedly, you're going to be able to engage targets out to 1,000, 1,200 meters instead of the 600 meters that the M4 is doing. You've reduced ammo capacity by a third. You're talking about guys carrying less ammunition, less suppressive fire because it's uncontrollable. You've shortened the barrel because it was so front heavy, guys didn't like it. Because it was a huge freaking gun. You essentially gave them AR-10s is what you gave them. For those of you that know what
yeah.
Right.
And we've tried peddling battle rifles before.
It didn't. M14.
It doesn't work.
It didn't work.
Like I ranted about in the group text before. Like, you will not find a better strategy than smaller calibers and larger volumes supplemented with squad weapons. And if you need more accuracy, you have SPR, DMRs, designated marksmen. Like, you're not going to have a system than that.
No,
because
you can't do all in one.
You can't. You can't be a multi-tool. You need to have specific rules, like specific roles. And history of battle has taught us that, like, hey, the prevailing force is the one with more ammunition.
And to the
one that shoots most bullets usually wins.
And to that end, though, not to be ugly, but even if the weapon can take the place of all these different weapons, the soldier can't.
Well, that's what Ian McCollum talked about in his video, is that they did battlefield diagnostics on engagements from World War II, from Korea, from Vietnam, even back to World War II. Because we're like, oh, yeah, the M1 Garand, you could shoot 1,000 yards or 800 yards with it.
No,
you can't see
there
that
there are people that can. Most
people can't. But you can't see. And what they did with the battle diagnostics was at 300 meters, that's the last effective range you can see and make out a human standing up if you're in a prone position. And he's like, so past that, what's the good of having every average infantryman be able to shoot past that? And the M4 can shoot past that, but most engagements happen between here and there.
Well, and it's a misunderstanding of the capabilities of firearms, and I deal with this all the time talking to people. And again, I'm a novice of novices. Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous, but what little bit I do know, talking to people, just the misconceptions of like, oh, well, yeah, well, what kind of rifle would I want to use, if I want to shoot out to 800 yards at an elk? You don't. Have you ever looked through binoculars at 800 yards? Yeah. We're talking.
Let alone shot 800 yards?
YouTube and the internet has made us think, oh, well, yeah, I got to be able.
I blame Mark Wahlberg and shooter.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, I don't mean to be ugly, but do y'all realize what kind of time behind the trigger, like we talked about earlier, how much practice and how much money invested in glass to be able to shoot efficiently past 500 yards.
Oh yeah,
That's
you're not
just
going
500
to do it with your vortex crossfire too. But
on your
no,
Savage axis. But here's the thing. To that point, this is also a difference in the idea of the military world versus the hunting world.
Yeah.
The military guy's like, I'll take that 1,000-yard shot because I'm trying to kill the enemy, and heck, if I hit him in the leg, it's better than not hit him at all.
Sure. That is a good point.
But in the hunting world, you're like, we're trying to do this ethically.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to.
Or you
win.
should be.
You should be. There's a lot of hunters that don't.
Yeah.
Poo-poo on them. But you should be trying to kill this elk with 1-2 shots.
Yeah.
And actually be able to hit them instead of like, well, I flung one at him and I landed that 300 Win Mag in his hindquarters, and now he's going to either die a horrible death or limp for the rest of his life. But I hit him at 600 yards.
Ron Spomer, shout out, one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. He's up for the Gundy Awards again. Go vote for him. But Ron Spomer and then Joseph Von Benedict, who we all three love to watch and listen to. And those two gentlemen I just mentioned have forgotten more about shooting than we know.
Absolutely.
And when they say, oh, no, you have no business, and all they do is hunt out west.
Yeah.
Like Von Benedict's from Idaho. He's in Idaho, I think.
He lives in Idaho. I don't know. I don't think he's from.
Well,
Idaho.
he lives in Idaho.
Oh,
Point being,
but he hunts everywhere.
They live and breathe hunting out west. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And when they say, "Oh no, you have no business shooting past 500 yards. 500 yards is our maximum ethical range for taking elk or mule deer."
Yeah.
That should say something.
Optimal word in there is ethical.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't shoot.
Can't say. Look, there's years ago we watched it. There was this chick. Heck of a shot. She killed an elk, and it was at 600 yards with a .243. That is a 1 in a million. It's not ethical.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a blade of grass. You are a half of a mile an hour wind shift from hitting that animal in the hindquarter.
Yeah.
So
all that being
go back to with tactics and everything we're talking about, it's mind blowing how shortly removed from the GWAT we are right now. So it's as if like we just completely forgot all
it is.
tactics.
Here's what we're doing. We're picking and choosing what we want to learn out of the GWAT.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what they're going for is Afghanistan, not Iraq. And the little bit in Afghanistan, and it's interesting because I remember being in high school and getting my mom and dad got me for Christmas one year a guns and ammo subscription back when we had actual magazines. And the last
I miss actual magazines.
That was a good time.
That was the good old days. The last article in there, and again, this is 2010, 2011, was talking about how there were guys taking civilian M1As to Afghanistan for further engagement. But that was Afghanistan in certain circumstances. They were talking about how he was talking about he had talked to.
Wait, you mean situations dictate the tactics?
Situations dictate the tactics. But he was talking about they were trying to pull, get basically the military, the Army and the Marines didn't have enough DMRs. And so they had guys, the military buying civilian rifles to try to fill in that, which happens in wartime, right? So there might be more DMRs, but we took that lesson and ran with it instead of the
DMR the world.
Instead of much more conflicts happen, building to building fighting. Within 100 yards.
Yeah, exactly right. And again, what do we always say? I just quoted it, but situations dictate the tactics. So,
but it's funny that like SIG has this whole controversy wrapped up in this handgun, and we're going to trust him to make the battle rifle and the next squad automatic rifle.
It is interesting concepts, but it's not proving very well from what I understand.
I don't think it's going to be good tactics. And again, I'm not a military expert.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I've loved military history for a long time, and
I've seen. And look, maybe the technology. Yeah, if the Lord tarries, maybe the technology will get there one day where the gun kind of takes up so much of the work for you.
We're not there.
But we're not there, and right now. Ammo, gun, chassis aside, the limiting factor in being able to engage a target past 300 meters is the person behind the trigger.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to train the majority of the population to shoot like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're not.
That's exactly right. But also, you can't, like you said, you can't have this one tool that does all.
Yeah.
Because once you start having magnification to properly identify targets past 300-400 meters, okay, what do you do now when you need to go clear that room next? You've got magnification that can zoom out to 10.
I was gonna say you got a 16 power scope. Good luck with that. Running through that building.
Running through that building with that, like you have to have that in between. But it's just funny. It's like there are so much conversation to have on the tactics of it, but it's just ironic that we're giving it to kind of a crappy company like SIG.
Like, and I love the concept of battle rifles.
Yeah,
I'm a huge FNFAL fan.
Oh yeah,
huge, big Rhodesia fan here.
I love the M14, the M1.
Yes, oh absolutely. Like I love the concept of battle rifles, but they as a standard across the board for all the U.S. military, like no. Don't put a battle rifle in everybody's hand.
No.
You're out of your mind.
No, especially if you're going up near peer forces, they're all going to be dumping, 5.45 by 39 at you. I mean,
yeah,
they're shooting the Russian equivalent of a 5.56 at you.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a lot more ammo than you do.
And if I'm probably wrong in this statement, but I'm somewhat close.
That's never stopped you before.
From what I understand, like a 308 out of an 18-inch barrel is similar to this 277 Fury out of like a 14-inch barrel.
It's not, like you're pretty close.
And then you have all the logistics behind trying to push this 277 caliber
that's
bullets
another thing.
And barrels and the whole shift over to that. That's insane.
That Cappy Army and Ian McCollum brought up, like you're going to have to gut our entire system to get you barrels, bullets,
infrastructure,
your whole infrastructure, but also your reserves, because we have millions of 7.62 by 51 NATO 308 ready, and we're going to have to replace that with 277 Fury. It's just not. It's not practical. When, like you said, compared side by side, it's not that much greater.
And they're putting.
Do you mean to tell me the government would purposely waste money and squander it on a useless project?
No, never.
See, that's another thing. Like these things cost $5,000 a piece.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Is that pretty close?
I think it's
plus gratuity.
$5,000 plus gratuity. I'll give you 6 MOA too.
Oh, welcome to DeAndre Sharpshooters. Good gracious.
SIG cancel, or no, that was FN. I was about to say the Scar. Like, oh wait, no, that was FN. the Scar is dead. They're not making Scars anymore.
Another note, they are. All right, so the AI overview says the M7 rifle, this variant of Sig Sauer's MCX Spear, the civilian version. So this is probably going to be close to what they're peddling to the military. So I doubt they're giving them a break, considering they know their pocket. Is generally ranging in price from $3,800 to $4,200.
Get out.
Not quite $5,000, but still, that's obscene.
That's not that's not $4,000 a rifle right there.
No, that's not.
I'm telling you.
That's not 6 MOA.
Yeah, day. That's
if I'm spending that money, I'm getting nice armament.
No, I know.
And I'm not going to spend that much money either.
Look, and I know we're comparing. Look, a bolt action rifle should always be more accurate than a semi-auto. Got that.
Sure.
But just bear with me here. You can buy a CVA Cascade out of the box for $699 at your local Walmart in 308 or in 6.5 Creedmoor. Let's just use 308 because we're talking about military style stuff. And there have been YouTubers pull it out of the box and shoot half MOA with it.
Yeah.
For $700.
I got news for you. The military's still using bolt actions too.
Yeah, right. Oh.
And I will say for your heavier caliber, a shift that if you want to run a shorter barrel, a shift that I would say is worth making, run a shorter barrel 6.5 Creedmoor.
Yeah.
Because similar, like I said before, I think with the 308, we're going to kick it up to 20 inches. A 308 out of a 20-inch barrel is almost ballistically identical to a 6.5 Creedmoor out of a 14.5-inch barrel. They're pretty dang close as far as the numbers go.
Yeah.
And actually, SOCOM has ran trials. I need to look that up. SOCOM has ran trials within the last year for them a battle rifle, and it was shorter barreled, semi-auto, 6.5 Creedmoors. I believe LMT, Lewis Machine and Tool, was one of the runner-ups.
That's interesting.
Somebody else. I don't remember who the other was. Yeah, that's pretty dang interesting.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap this up, we're at about an hour now. Do you want to touch in the amazing creation of one of our favorite gun tubers, probably at least one of the most famous, Mr. Brandon Herrera, YouTuber, part-time politician, the savant that he is.
Gun connoisseur.
Gun connoisseur.
Man-made horrors beyond comprehension.
So Bailey, y'all want to talk about the old AK-50?
He's been working on it for a long time.
Like a decade.
No joke, a decade. And I did not realize he's younger than me.
That lifestyle will catch up with you.
I think he's your age, Will. Like he's.
Oh, Brandon, you aging like milk.
that lifestyle, boys.
Well, if we ever are going to meet him, we're not now.
I was about to say. Thank you.
I apologize for my outskirts, Mr. Herrera. Brandon Herrera, 2026. I think he's running for something. I don't know.
Best of luck to him.
Good gracious.
Anyways,
I'm a fan. I dig him.
No, me too, man. He's a really
smashing seltzers and shooting AKs.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
That's what he
Smashing seltzers and shooting
AKs.
Lord, oh bless it. Go ahead.
Cool dude.
Go
ahead. He's not quite as family friendly as we are.
No.
He's still a guy being a dude.
He's to each his own. Anyways, he has been working on this project for
a while.
10 years, I think. Anyways. And really, this kind of what put him on the map initially was he was like, I want to take, a big fan. Again, his YouTube handle is the AK guy. So I wonder what he's a fan of. AK style rifles, AK-47, AKM, all that good stuff. I'm sure he's got the tism. He knows all the different AKs, like Will knows all the different Glocks. But he had been working on this for 10 years, and I think he actually got it. I had to look the video up. I think it was actually last year that he got it working.
Yeah,
finished,
to where it would fire,
and it's his gen. It had taken him 3 different iterations, but this year he's really gotten it perfected, and it looks slick. Ian McCullum did a review of it, and it's the AK-50. He has taken the AK pattern from 1947 when Mikhail Kalashnikov created it, and has scaled it up effectively to shoot 50 BMG.
My hand's up for those that can't see.
The young man in front.
So 47 just stands for the year it was made?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like AR, let's say a letters like AR doesn't stand for assault rifle.
Assault rifle?
It just stands for something like Armalite, like maybe the company that made it. End of rant, continue.
And I think another thing's like, I think only like the very first run of AKs were considered AKs. Everything after that is AKMs.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've got all those designations. There's a pile of different.
Yeah.
If you want to get in the tism.
If you want to be a communist nerd, you can study that outside.
Because there's not only here's what Russia made, but China.
Oh, absolutely.
There's Romania made it. Everybody made one, and everybody made a different variant. And again, he knows all of them. And again, if you want to look at his channel, he's got, he'll explain it to you.
Yeah.
But Israel made one.
Can we
they
say
did.
That?
It's called the Galil.
It's called the Galil. But did you know what the guy's name is?
It was
because he made it to shoot 5.56,
so that they could smooch off of NATO for ammo.
So they could get NATO ammo. It does have a proprietary magazine. It doesn't use a Sten mag.
Of course.
It shoots 5.56. They had to call it.
You're already in the doghouse. Tread, sir. Tread. Hang on. Let me get over here. There's 3. All right, I'm fixing to pot him down.
The guy's name who legitimately came up with this, and they talked about this, Brandon Herrera and those guys did on the Unsubscribe set. They had to call it the Galil because you would not believe what his last name was. So the AK The guy who made it is Mikhail Kalashnikov.
Yeah.
The guy who made the Galil's last name is Balashnikov.
Oh, you're making this up.
I shouldn't you not.
You are making this up. Oh, my
He took
word.
the AK pattern, adapted it to 5.56, and the Galil's a great rifle. It's a really cool rifle.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That is.
His last name was Balashnikov.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
word.
The Simpsons couldn't write this episode.
So a 50 BMG
uses
semi-auto. So how much does it hold, per se?
it uses Barrett 50 mags. So its standard is 10 rounds. But there is a company, I don't know what they're called, but they're coming out with a drum mag.
Oh,
PSA.
for goodness.
Please, PSA.
Oh.
They're coming out, and it's a 25 round drum
That's
mag.
psychotic.
That's psychotic.
Dude, it looks like a basketball underneath.
I bet it
is
does.
Ungodly.
Oh,
But,
my word.
But no, this year he really has perfected it, and I just want to bring it up, give him shout outs. Not that he needs it from us.
I'm sure.
But-
Yeah, of course.
It is a really
Y'all would
cool-
just be nice enough to give him a follow. He
Yeah.
could use a few more
he could
followers.
use, I think he's like 4.5 million.
Right,
subscribers.
you know.
But no, man, it's just it's really cool to me. And the reason I wanted to bring it up was that it's very cool to see somebody making something new. Is it practical? Is anybody going to actually use it? No. He hasn't even said, because he does own a firearms manufacturing company. He hasn't even said if he's actually going to make these for sale. He's only made one of them.
Yeah.
But the fact that somebody,
Which makes it cooler.
but the fact that somebody has made something that really is new,
Yeah.
It's just
nobody's
it's fun.
doing that, man. Like,
It
except
just-
for, the crackheads that work at Keltec. But
Oh,
Oh,
oh, goodness.
I have owned Keltecs. I like
Caltech is ran and employs nothing but Florida men.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
They
fantastic.
come up with some wild stuff.
But
I'm
see,
down for a Caltech though. Like I'd love to have a what is the P2000?
I had one. Yeah, they're great.
I'd love
But-
to have one.
but
Some
to
of their
that point,
pistols.
culturally, in society, nobody's making new things.
No.
Everybody's just making bad copies of old things.
Yeah.
Or changing it and just
Sig took the
C-Star. Oh, yeah,
Sig
C-Sig.
took the piston-driven AR and made it worse.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've left out my favorite part of this story. How about was it Call of Duty? Who was it?
No,
or was it
Call of
Fortnite?
Duty. No,
That-
it was Call of Duty.
That immediately ripped him off.
Took his pattern and gave it as a upgrade for one of their guns, because they don't, in the new Call of Duties, it will show our age. They don't actually put the names of the guns
Of course.
because they don't
Really?
want to glorify them.
Yeah.
So even generic names like AR-15, M16, they don't even put that in there. They got to call it a different name, even though the gun you can tell what it is.
Yeah, which is kind of just a video game thing, because you can remember back in the day, you'd have a whatever game,
Oh, GoldenEye did it.
GoldenEye. There'd be a Camaro, and it's called the Punisher, and it just looks like a Camaro with the Chevrolet badges off of it. But anyway, go ahead.
But they ripped it off in a upgrade for whatever Call of Duty it was, and you could go get this upgrade in the game and have the AK-50. And
Yeah.
they said it was like it's a whatever style rifle, which was an AK, upgraded to 50 caliber, and bring her like really guy.
Yeah. Again, his whole spiel on that was hilarious as well.
But now another game, which is more of an indie game, Escape from Tarkov, from what I understand, actually called him and were like, "Hey, we're putting your gun in the game and calling it the AK-50." So shout
that's
out
cool.
to them. They actually was like, man,
That's
your gun,
cool.
Your gun got in a video game. How cool is that?
That's pretty
Like-
neat. I'm familiar with not getting credit for gun inventions.
Okay, here we go.
All right, you got about 10 minutes. We need to take credit for something, and by we I mean Will Howard.
Will Howard, go.
William Eugene Howard III
has bullied.
has bullied one of our favorite firearm manufacturers.
Yes, it is me. I'm guilty.
Someone
I
had to do
need,
it.
I need to put it in my Instagram bio, just like father of
should.
the 35 wheeling Cascade. So,
Set the stage for us.
in kind of learning about more somewhat oddball calibers, I developed an infatuation with the 35 wheeling, and big fan of it.
You get fixated on something? No.
Never. And so it's like, man, I'd like to have one of these. I hop online, like, oh, okay. CVA, they make single shot rifles. The Scout, like, they make one chamber in 35. Well, don't mind if I do. Went and got one. I love it. It's what I primarily deer hunt with.
We put it on Indian Hen Outdoors.
But on Indian Outdoors, it's what
Yeah.
you will be deer hunting with in the morning.
Yeah, go check that video out. So it I got to thinking about it. It's like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have a bolt tax on one of these? Let me do some research. Well, CVA, it was shortly after CVA started making bolt tax rifles, the CVA Cascade.
Yep.
They had just come out.
Yeah, like, wouldn't it be neat to be able to just buy off the shelf a 35 Wheeling? And I DM'd them on Instagram, it's like, hey, just a thought, like, y'all going to make a CVA Cascade and 35 Wheeling? Because they already make the single shots. They have the machining. They're making barrels.
And they had the Cascade in 30-06.
30-06, which
There
is
you
the
go.
parent cartridge for the 35 Wheeling. And I hounded them for a little bit, and if I remember correctly, they were just like,
So by hounded, he means
This is my favorite part.
they were.
Their first response was, we have no plans to make the Cascade in 35 Wheeling.
Yes. To which William Eugene Howard III sent not a
one of
meme, a
those
GIF.
Chiefs,
A
a
GIF.
GIF,
Did you say GIF?
Chiefs.
A GIF of the character Muffin from the hit children's show Bluey saying, "This is unacceptable."
And then laying on the ground going, this is unacceptable. I need to go see if they ever even opened that.
But now here we are, sometime later, and what have they produced, Will?
We're still waiting on it.
What have they announced?
They have announced that they will be producing the CVA Cascade XT chambered in 35 Wheeling.
There you go. He's responsible. Somebody had to do it.
Somebody
He is
had
the
to do
chosen one.
Will bullied CBA
And-
into making a 35 Wheeling Cascade with Bluey memes.
With Bluey. True story. It happened.
So I guess they did see that Muffin at some point, because I later DM'd them back in July and said, dude, okay, so these dates were December 28th, 2023 was when I first DM'd.
Yeah.
And
We'll take screenshots of this and put it up.
We will definitely do that.
so let me just go ahead and do that so I don't forget. So I messaged them again back on July 8th and just said, because they announced that back in SHOT Show, back at the beginning of this year,
Yeah.
35 Wheeling was coming. I said, hey, when is the Cascade XT chambered in 35 Wheeling going to be available? We are still expecting them to arrive before hunting season. I said, thank you. I said, sounds good, thank you. Well, then I'd have to go and find it. I commented on one of their post on Instagram.
Yeah.
And said, like, hey guys, when is this coming? And I said, it'll probably be after the first of the year. I'm like,
Keep bullying them, Will.
You're about to get more Bluey memes.
Hey, I'll tell you, Lipsy's and Ruger, they didn't want any of these problems because I didn't even have to ask them. They had just up and made it.
Dude,
They knew better.
Good gracious. That Ruger Hawkeye M77.
Oh,
That's
dream rifle.
Have you seen that they're making more variants of that?
I did not.
Okay, so the Ruger Hawkeye.
So you didn't have to bully Ruger because Joseph Von Benedict did.
he did it himself. So Lipsy's they'll commission gun manufacturers to make certain runs of certain firearms and whatnot. So they commissioned Ruger to make a buttload of Ruger Hawkeye African M77.
Yes, that's the one I'm referring to. That is my dream gun.
Yeah.
Chambered in 35 Wheeler.
Because you can get it with the
9.7 by 56.
Yep.
That's yep. And now they're doing another run. It's still a Ruger M77. It's slightly shorter. It's got a laminate stock on it, stainless steel. You can get it in 35 Wheeling or
I did see that.
9 by.
It was more like
9.7 by 56.
yeah,
or
more like
Yeah.
a little more like a
like a guide gun.
a guide gun. Yeah, I did see that. I would take one of those too.
And it's about the same price.
And you can get that extended drop plate, and
All
it holds
the,
like darn. How many does it hold?
Let's see. I think it'll bump you up to like 6 with the Alaskan Arms extended base plate.
Base plate. I
I'm
said
sorry.
back plate.
9.3 by 62. I got my
9.3 by
I got
62
my-
Swede.
No, nobody cares about that metric stuff.
Go outside,
anyway.
nerd. I don't know anything. I don't know a whole lot about it, but people rave about it.
Yeah. But you think-
particularly on the Backcountry podcast.
I was going to say, and I know Von Benedict's covered
All
it
five
nauseum.
of us.
All 5 of us. You think about that. 1 in the chamber. 7 rounds of 35 Wayland.
that's a
good
thumper.
gracious.
Just lay down some hate. 200 grains and up, possibly
That's a
225 to
thumper.
250 grains.
Which we are really in the weeds now, but people don't realize too, 35 Wayland is one of those that's severely underloaded from the factory.
Yeah, you can load it hotter.
You get it
Mhm.
into those hand loads, it's just wicked.
You can
And
make
it-
it do
and it shoots-
impressive stuff.
Yeah, and it shoots, I mean, for what it is.
Oh yeah,
It shoots relatively flat
you're getting into
if you
like,
hand load it.
dangerous game Magnum cartridges.
Oh,
territory.
yeah, I mean, it was deemed like the poor man's Magnums. Like, look,
Right.
you don't want to spend the money on a 375 H&H.
Yeah.
You buy with bolt action 30-06, either
Board up
a
35
surplus 1903
Yep.
or
wheels.
you know,
Brook.
just
Eddie, right, Eddie Brook.
and have it reboard to 35 wheeling.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Well, before we wrap up, is that what we're about to do?
Yes, we are an hour and 15 into this Nerd Fest.
I will stop the Nerd Fest real quick, but I do want to say something because we always try to do a Veggie Tales.
Oh, let's hear it.
So
Let's hear it.
I have not told either one of y'all this.
Uh-oh.
This is going on in our lives, in my family. I wanted to mention it because as you get, this is going to come out.
Which family? You got 2, right?
Oh,
Nope. Just the one-
Secret
just the
family.
one. Not the secret family.
he's not Grant, though.
Dang. Well, it is good.
Secret lives of Mormon wives.
Good gracious.
I'm
This
sorry.
is
I'm
a-
done.
No, you're good. This is, man, it's really a testimony. And I want to bring it up because here's our Veggie Tales / South Park lesson for the end of the episode. My grandmother, who is 83 years old, has been through so much, and she is near the end of her life. We are very much at the end. Dementia has set in. She just got had a stint in the hospital. Her spine is mostly gone. This woman had 4 traumatic brain injuries throughout her life. In the 60s, she lost 2 of her children to a car wreck. That was the first traumatic brain injury she had. She was in a coma for multiple weeks, only to wake up to find out her 2 children, who were 6 and 4, had died. She lost my grandfather back in 2008 to cancer. She ran a business for years that eventually collapsed and, left her in pretty bad shape financially. Went from in the 80s being almost a millionaire to having very little and nothing. There's been ups and downs in her life. This old woman encouraged me in my faith for years growing up. She is at the end of her life, like I said. Just to show you the impact that drawing near to the Lord and clinging to Jesus can have, she can't remember her own name. She can't remember my mother or my aunt or my uncle. She can't remember me or any of my other cousins. My mom said that now she can only say 1 or 2 words at a time. My mom went down to see her, and my mom said she started reading scripture to her, and she would just hold my mom's hand and say, beautiful, wonderful. And she said my mom started singing and singing hymns and singing Jesus Loves Me. And she said she was trying with everything in her to sing. And the reason I bring that up, and I know that's very emotional, is it's very important to realize if you have Christ, you draw near to Him. When everything else fades, when you yourself as a person even fades, she can't remember her name. Christ is still there. The Holy Spirit is in her and holding her so close, even here at the end. So, if you are not saved, please draw near to the Lord. That is the testimony of Maria Durham, is that even though she doesn't know her own name, she knows who Christ is. And she is trying with her might to sing hymns and loves to hear scripture, even when she doesn't know a single thing else on this world. So I know that's emotional and pretty heavy, but
Amen.
But
Amen.
it's beautiful. It's just a genuine believer. The Spirit of the Lord lives within her. The law is written on her heart.
that's exactly right.
And
And it's
it's
following.
amazing.
It's what is there. So if you guys don't know the Lord, please repent, follow Christ.
And like you said, when this body will fade away,
Yes.
your mind will fade away, but the soul don't.
No.
Her body's gone, her mind is gone, but
Her mind is
but her
gone.
soul is still there.
Yeah. She doesn't even know who she is.
Which brings up another point of like, we don't see why, we don't understand, and there's a lot of people out there that would say, what's the point of her living this long? Because you see her soul, it's over when God says it is.
It's over when
It's not her decision. It's not our decision. There's some reason for it. It's over when He says it is.
That's right. And I will tell you this now. My mother has had to go back home and to Tennessee, and she has told that testimony in her church. And I have told people about that, and it is already impacting their lives.
That's the point.
People that my grandmother has never met, and God is using her in her last hours, her last days, to give glory to the Lord.
Amen.
So, God bless y'all.
God bless y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will catch you next time. I'm Turner.
And I will.
Amen.
And this has been Lost in Stupidity.